Welcome to the Mum CEO podcast. I'm your host, Esther Roach. Join me as we explore the dynamic intersection of motherhood and entrepreneurship. From the challenges to the triumphs, we're here to unravel it all. Get ready for insightful conversations, practical wisdom, and a whole lot of inspiration. Let's embark on this empowering journey together. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Mum CEO podcast. I'm your host, Esther Roach, and today I'm joined by Amy Atkinson. Hello, Amy, and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
No, it's a pleasure having you on the show. So for the benefit of the audience, if you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about what you do.
What do I do? Jack of all trades, master of none. No, I'm joking. Hello everybody. My name is Amy Atkinson and I am the CEO and founder of multiple businesses. I have got a digital marketing agency. I have got a training company for service-based business owners to scale them to six figures. So helping them really step into their CEO, looking at their business strategy, their market strategy, right from messaging through to pricing, because all of this stuff comes into actually helping you get the right systems and processes in place to be creating those six figures for yourself. And then because of the success of those other two businesses, my husband and I have been able to invest in property as well. So we have got a property investment firm. So I'm busy. That is me. Well, I'm a mum as well.
I was going to say.
Yes, I am a mum. I've got a little girl. She is 5. And she keeps us on our toes, but she is absolutely the apple of my eye. So trying to juggle business, wifing, lifing, and mumming is quite something.
It is, isn't it? And I've caught you. Obviously, we're recording the episode, and here in the UK, it is half term for us. How's that going for you?
Am I allowed to swear?
Well, you probably can.
Ideally not.
That's exactly how you feel.
Well, my natural reaction was to say fucking hell. I said to you just now, I was like, this is my first experience of half term, right? So I've always had nursery and consistent childcare. And I thought I had it nailed. I was like, yeah, it's going to be fine. I've got my mother-in-law helping. I'm doing 2 days. Elliot, my husband, he's doing a day. Cracking, happy days. Then they throw in inset days and we're like, great, let's just sort of squeeze even more out of our childcare. So Elliot took another day off. But then the world doesn't stop, right? So just this week, I put up a post about this. So my biggest thing is helping you guys make more sales from social media. It's something I'm bloody good at doing. And I think a lot of people look at me putting things up on socials and they're like, oh yeah, but you're just really good, or you just know what to say and it must be really easy for you. But just this week, I've had someone try to steal my brand away from me. So that was fun. And I would then had to like instantly trademark something. In one of our properties, the ceiling's fallen in, cracking, happy days. We've now got to fix that and go through insurance. Real potted history, but I've got an autoimmune disease. So I've been on steroids for almost 6 months now, but that plays havoc on my heart. So I have heart palpitations and they've been horrendous this week. And that is all while stealing half-term business. I decided to put myself into launch in my business this week. Why the fuck I did that, I don't know. But it's been a week. So the reason I'm sharing this is not to sort of like show off that we've even got other properties, you know. It's just to say that every single person, every single mum who's got their business, it doesn't matter whether you've got one business, 5 businesses, 20 businesses, 20 kids, 1 kid, everyone is busy and everyone is struggling. And I think it's really important to like really share the reality of what is going on, because it's not sunshine and rainbows all the time for anyone.
And the thing is, like I always say to people, because obviously you are very big on social media, and I always say to people, not every single thing you see on social media is
Mm.
a true representation of how somebody's life is going. What sort of advice would you have to people that kind of feast on that and sort of think, oh my God, my life is worse than I'm not doing better than other people because of what they're seeing? What would your tips be for somebody like that?
I think it's really important to really understand that at the moment, I do see things as shifting a little bit, but certainly 5 years ago, if anyone put up negative things on social media, like our instant reaction is one of two things. It's either to go and give them attention, or it's like, why the hell have they put that up there? Like you're then going into judgment mode, right? Like, why are they putting that up there? Did they want attention or something? So you're one or the other. You either go and care about them or you get fed up because you feel like they post about negative stuff all the time. And so I think there's then been a shift where people then don't put up the negatives because they don't want to come across as though they're attention seeking or trying to seek um, help or advice, or they don't want somebody to feel sorry for them.
Mhm.
Um, so then there's like, it's then gone the other way where people only put up the positives or the great stuff that's going on. And then there's like this big economy really where people are like, oh my God, but they're doing so much better than me. But you have to understand that everything that people put up is literally a snapshot in time, whether it's positive or negative, it is literally a snapshot in time. So somebody could putting up the fact that, that they've had a 2K day, or they've made 100 sales this month, or they're on holiday with their family. But behind the scenes in the week before that, or even for months before that, they could have had absolutely zero happen. They could have also been going through something really personal that they don't want to talk about on social media. They could also have to have scrambled and saved and basically eaten beans on toast or not eaten at all for the last 2 months to go on holiday. You've got no idea what is going on behind the scenes. And so the only thing, like, catch yourself in that moment and be like, it's okay. It's safe for me to feel like shit and to feel like I would love to have that. But it's also give yourself grace that you don't know the big picture. Because I'm trying now. Like I said, I put up this post this week about what is really going on for me half term. It wasn't a woe me post, but instantly people are like, you've got this, like they're cheering me on. And to be honest, that's not what I wanted out of it. What I wanted out of it is just to share the reality of the shit side. And I'm really trying to show the good and the bad of having a business, because I think I've got my friends, for example, and people in business that are like, oh my God, you're absolutely smashing it. And then I'll explain to them, that I've had my colitis flare up, I've, all of this stuff. But I don't really want to be talking about the ins and the outs of my bowel movements to everyone online. So, just be mindful that you don't need to compare yourself to somebody else's highlight reel. I hate that saying. It's so cliche, but it's okay that you feel that, but then consciously kind of correct yourself to be like, but actually I've only just seen this post. I don't know what happened yesterday, an hour ago, or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And all those points you have nailed, because it's not just a problem for grown-ups, it's a massive issue for the youngsters as well. And it's really difficult to sort of think, how do you, which direction or how do you best support to make sure that they don't fall into the trap of believing that everything that they're seeing is right. And I think there's a lot of societal pressure that comes from not just social media, but those around us, because you always think somebody else is doing better than you. And simply because not everybody's sharing 100% of what's really happening, the sacrifices they've had to make that holiday or make something successful and everything, which is really good. And with you mentioned obviously with being half term, you've had to juggle childcare. But what I like is you tend to use the phrase, the power to give yourself permission. Can you
Mm.
share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I want to go back to when I actually first had my daughter, because
Mhm.
it really was not always like this. My mum brought me up to be a really independent person. Don't ask for help. You've got this. You can do this on your own. And ultimately, this is like generational trauma, if you like the word trauma, or if you hate the word trauma, it's just generational behavior. Her dad was exactly the same. So he taught her to be very independent. She's taught me to be very independent. But when I had Eva, I had an emergency C-section. Again, really long story cut short. They accidentally cut the back of my womb. My womb had to come out, get stitched back up, get put back in. So I was like, not a normal C-section, right? Not a normal scenario. I was in hospital for me, not for Eva, for a whole week after, during COVID. So my husband couldn't come in. So like you're fight at that moment I was fighting for my own life. Forget everything else for a second. And I came out of hospital. Here I am, happy days, 5 years later, absolutely fine. So let's not worry about that. But I came out of hospital, and in all honesty, I could barely walk. Obviously, they let me out because you have to be able to walk to go out, but I could barely walk. I couldn't push a pram. So life was hard, and suddenly my mother-in-law, technically you weren't obviously allowed to do this, but my mother-in-law and my mum really rallied around me, but I hated it. I was like, I've got to have the house tidy before the mother-in-law comes over. I've got to have like things prepped and snacks ready for them when they come over, and then they're suddenly like cleaning for me and they're doing the washing for me, and I hated it. I really did not like it, and I had to really like understand in myself, where's that come from?
Mm.
Because it's okay to ask for help. And it was so hard for me to almost let go of perfection, I think,
Mm.
and let go of the fact that I don't have to have it all. I don't need to be able to do it all. I can accept help. I can ask for help. And it's okay to do so. And so I do talk about this a lot, where you have to give yourself permission to the things that deep down are important, but maybe societal pressure or upbringing tells you otherwise. But the first step is understanding what you think and what you feel, and then changing that narrative, changing the way that you think and feel about all of those things, because you can do what you want. And I think that this is where a lot of mums go wrong, is that you've got these learnt behaviors and these learnt things that you do, but it doesn't always have to be that way. And we were talking about half term earlier, and like how I was able to get things done this week. And like I said, we are lucky. We're in a position where my mum can help and Elliot's mum can help. But I know if they couldn't, I would still put those measures in place in order to not burn myself out to the ground.
Yeah.
I have got up, like total transparency, it's not always easy. I have got up at 6 every single morning in order to do a couple of hours work before he got bored. So that has meant that Tuesday and Thursday, my mother-in-law had her, but Monday and Wednesday, when I was due to have her, and even when Elliot has her on Friday, which was the inset day, and now today, because it's Friday the 31st, happy Halloween, he's having her, but she's like, I'm her primary carer, as are most mums. So she still wants me to open her yogurt for her. She's being lazy. She can do it herself, but whatever. Because I don't want her to have that whole independence trauma that I feel like I had. I'm like, yeah, of course, she's asked me for help, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So I will open her banana. I will peel her banana. I will open her yogurt. I will get her a spoon if she wants it. But I will also occasionally encourage her. Do you think you can do it? If you can, try. If you can't, mummy will help. Anyway, So when I'm getting up Monday to Thursday early to try and get some stuff done before she gets bored, it then actually meant, like, last night we were watching Traitors. If anyone's watching Traitors at the moment, bloody love that program. But it was 10 o'clock and I'm like, I need to go to bed. I am knackered, which at that point I knew I needed to let myself lie in this morning. So I gave myself permission to do that. And that means sometimes that you don't get everything done, but it's okay. You're only one person. You're only human.
And that's brilliant, because it's not being too hard for yourself on yourself, because I've had a similar thing and I have way more than one child. So it's been absolutely fun in terms of I've got all these plans that, I'm going to do this and do that. But like you said, you can't ignore the fact that the kids are there, and you don't want to be immersed in work and forget about them completely and stuff. Sometimes we do what we have to do because we can. But otherwise, the majority of times we're trying to make up the time. Like, I've had probably 2 or 3 days this week that I've just written off. I had all these plans. It just hasn't worked out because I've had to be on mummy duty and be at my best to be able to support my kids and spend some time with them. So, I think it's giving yourself that permission without feeling guilty or feeling bad that you've not done any work, because that can also be really stressful, that you've been so unproductive, but in a way you have, because you've spent that quality time with your children, which is really important. And, with your journey then, how did the whole social media, how did you get into it yourself?
I kind of fell into it, which is such a rubbish response, isn't it? But so my background is actually fashion design.
Wow.
So nothing to do with what I do now. I was so good at art at school. Without blowing my own trumpet, I loved it. And my teachers pushed me. And I really wanted to get into fashion when I was at school. And I got into London College of Fashion, one of the top, fashion schools in the UK. And I was so proud of myself. But when I was there, it suddenly dawned on me that actually I don't agree with the industry. And we're not going to dwell on that too much. But it then meant I needed to think of something else to do. So I realized that I needed to be creative because it's something that I love to do. And so I then went down the pathway of going into marketing. And I actually started off in finance marketing. So I wrote my very first blog a long time ago was From Fashion to Finance, because it's like, how do you go from that to that? They couldn't be more different if they tried. But honestly, the ideas of being able to come up with different marketing campaigns, different words, different ways of describing what people do, and really understanding your customer to encourage them to buy fascinated me. And anyway, went into corporate marketing. I was in corporate marketing for about 6-7 years. And I did really well in corporate marketing. So every job I had, every company I worked for, I was constantly being promoted. So my first ever company, I was promoted 3 times in 6 months. Wow. And in all honesty, it's just because I've got an eye for seeing what works, knowing what works, and implementing what works. Yeah. And for that company, year on year, I grew their sales. So it's a FTSE 100 company. I'm not allowed to say their name because of contracts and all of that. But I grew their sales directly off their homepage for their website by 8% year on year in 3 months.
Wow.
And that equated to about £300 million in sales. I then got headhunted to go to another company where I grew that over 2 years to equate to about £480 million in sales. And then I went to another company, and that was my last employed company. They basically went into cutting costs mode, which a lot of big companies do every single year. And our team, so there was a team of 36 of us, I think, were being made redundant. Or 36 of us had to then apply for like 6 jobs. So as you can imagine, it was a real rubbish place to work. And I just didn't want to be around that negativity and backstabbingness. It's why I didn't like the fashion industry. And so I said to my other half, and I can remember coming home from work, I had depression at that point, actually, and it was when I had one of my major colitis flare-ups, because they flare up around stress. I remember coming home from work, sitting in the basement of my old house, sitting on my knees and just crying. I could not do it anymore. I didn't want to be around it anymore. It was really dragging me down. And I said to him, I really want to start my own thing. But I made the mistake, number one, of listening to him, which was, Amy, you don't know enough people. You won't make enough money, blah, 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 blah. So I listened to him, and I then started looking for another job, got offered another job. But the guy on the phone offered me the job. He was like, congratulations, you've got the job. Just so you know, for your age, you're commanding a really high salary. Now, I already had that belief in my head that I was aged 26, I think, and I was earning very, very, very good money compared to all of my friends. But ultimately, it was because I kept getting these promotions because of the results I was getting for the businesses, and I was getting headhunted. When I was moving from the company that was making people redundant to this other company, I actually didn't ask for a pay rise. I just asked for a flat, like, transfer, because I didn't believe I deserved any more. And when he said that, it just suddenly lit a rocket in me that I was like, F off. Like, you've literally offered me the job. You can see on paper that I'm bloody good at what I do. And now you're questioning me and my salary. I haven't even worked for you yet. Like, at least see me in the workplace and then question my salary, or get rid of me if you think I'm crap. And I just thought, I don't want to work for someone like that. So again, I went into that feeling of, oh God, this is rubbish. What am I going to do? And I just was like, well, what am I good at? I'm good at marketing, and the way of the world is digital marketing. So I very much started working with small businesses doing their digital marketing. And in all honesty, I did anything and everything. I went into that panic mode because I listened to my other half, who was like, you need to earn more money. You need to get your corporate salary back, blah, blah, blah. Because we were used to that, right? Yeah. And so I was like, right, I'll get my corporate salary back in 6 months. Did that happen? Did it fuck? Let's just be honest about that. But it did happen probably after 2 years. I got my corporate salary back. And that was working all of the hours God sends. And I burnt out. Of course I did. And it was at that point then I realized, I was like, I either need to outsource to people who are actually experts in the different areas, or I need to focus on something myself. And to be honest, that was when my agency was born. So I then started outsourcing things, and things were going great and happy days and la, la, la. But then we get to March 2019, and we all remember not 2019, 2020. We all remember what happened in March 2020, COVID. The clients that I was working with were small business owners. They couldn't afford to outsource marketing when they're not getting an income coming in. So within 48 hours, and a whole load of emails from my clients, all saying very similar things, which was, Amy, I'm really sorry, but I don't know what's going to happen to my business over the next few months. Can we put all of our work on hold together? I lost everything. I literally lost every single client I had ever built, I had ever had. But I needed to put food on the table for me. I needed to put food on the table for my team. They were relying on me for their income. And that was honestly the pits of business. But it really made me realize, what can I do in this current situation to help myself, help other people, help my clients? So that's when my coaching and training with social media was born. In that moment, I basically went to them and offered to do it for free to start with. And I got such good feedback from it that actually that part of the business is probably 70% of my income now.
Wow.
I've really stepped back from the agency. I keep all of the money and profit in the agency to grow the agency to the point where I only earn a couple of £100 out of that now, because I want to just push the agency organically, but focus on really making a difference to the people that honestly light me up every day. And that's how it all happened.
Wow,
10 minutes
incredible.
later.
Incredible journey and story, and obviously the power of pivoting and getting yourself into something completely different, which is a fear that other people hold as well. It's always like, oh my God, but surely I can't. But sometimes you've got to think outside the box and have a plan and try and make it work. And for the businesses that you work with, then, if we talk about obviously your coaching, your training, how can businesses work with you?
Yeah, okay. So in the agency, they're turning over 2 to 10 million, right? These companies, and they need somebody that they've probably got a marketing person in their business, but that individual marketing person doesn't have all of the areas of expertise that they need to really start to scale the business. So we're almost like an outsourced marketing team for them.
Right.
So that's one company. But if you wanted to work with me inside my coaching and training, I've got offers from £1 right up to £16,000. And that is basically all down to proximity with me. So if you're looking for faster results, quicker results, unique results to you, or unique plans and processes to you, then that's where you'll need to work with me one-to-one. If I see that actually you'd suit one of my programs or my mastermind, or even just a short little course that I've got, I will always direct people to those first. Obviously, working with me one-to-one, there's very limited spaces there.
Yeah. You can only do so much as one person as well, isn't it? So,
yeah.
And
exactly.
Where can they find you? How can they find you?
Come and stalk me on Instagram at the Femtrepreneur, FEMTREPRENEUR.
Oh,
But you'll put
fantastic.
the links, I suppose, in the
I will have the links on there. And have you got any offers or anything going at the minute with any of the programs?
Yeah, so I've got a load of freebies, and I've got my ideal client workbook. I have got a digital marketing strategy workbook, but I've also got my Facebook group. If you are finding that you're posting on social media and you just don't feel like you're getting reach, you don't get engagement or any of the things, my ideal client workbook is absolutely best for you. If you are finding on your social media, or even on your website, to be honest, that you're getting traffic, you're getting people look at your stuff, but they're not actually buying, then the digital workbook is for you. If you just haven't got a freaking clue on social media and just like, help me, Amy, help me answer my specific questions, then join the Facebook group, because I go live in there pretty much every Thursday, depending on my diary, but every Thursday answering your guys' questions. So that is the place to be.
Oh, fantastic. And I will share those links as well so that people are able to go to the respective spaces and areas where they can connect with you. And we've had quite a lot of chats about everything, call it mumming, social media, everything else. But what 3 tips would you like to leave the audience with?
If you have got a gut feeling that you know you can help people, just go for it. Don't let anybody or anything hold you back. That would be my first thing. The second thing will be specific around social media, and everyone's heard this before and they always groan when I say this, but you have to know your ideal customer. And I'm not talking about demographics. I am talking about what is keeping them up at night? What are they thinking, feeling on a day-to-day basis? And I don't mean busy, overwhelmed, stressed. That is too generic. If you want to cut through the noise on social media, you need to really understand, okay, so they're busy. What are they busy doing? Okay, so they're overwhelmed. Why are they overwhelmed? What is specifically the feeling that they've got? Where in their body are they feeling it? Because it's that stuff that's going to stop someone scrolling. And then my third tip is if you are feeling like you need to fill your cup, that is number one priority. Go and fill your cup. So every single day, part of my morning routine is to have my morning coffee. It's to listen to my high vibe music. And it is literally to go for a walk, even if it's literally down the road, 10 meters and then back again, just to get a little bit of fresh air and grounding in me. And it instantly lifts my mood, because we've got cycles and you're not always going to feel like it.
Fantastic. Well, that's amazing tips that, anybody can actually put into practice without, too much stress, if you like. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, Amy, and thank you so much for sharing about your journey, and also all those valuable tips that you shared with the audience. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I've loved it.
No, it's a pleasure.